Good morning, everybody, and happy Tuesday to you. I am so excited to read to you today because I've been saving a special book for us. This book is one of my favorite stories from when I was a little girl, and it's actually one of my big brother's favorite stories of all time. So today I'm dedicating this book to one of my big brothers. His name is Bap. So, Bap, if you're listening, it's time for Winnie the Pooh and Tigger too. So, any of you Winnie the Pooh fans, today's our day. I hope you all are ready for a Disney special book today, and we thank Disney for letting us read our Winnie the Pooh book today because we can't read it in the library. So, are you ready for some Winnie the Pooh and Tigger too, my friends? Here we go. All right. One fine day in the 100-acre wood, Winnie the Pooh was sitting on a comfortable log in his thoughtful spot, when suddenly his thoughts were interrupted by a sound he knew very well. Boing, boing, boing. "Hello, Pooh, it's me, Tigger," exclaimed Tigger, bounding into the thoughtful spot and bouncing Pooh right off of his log. T-I-double-G-R spells Tigger. "Yes, I know," said Pooh. "You've bounced me before." Tigger jumped up and shook Pooh's hand. "Well, I better be going now. I have a lot more bouncing to do." And here's a wonderful picture of Tigger bouncing Pooh at Pooh's thoughtful spot. T-I-double-G-R. That's how he spells it. Nearby, Piglet was busy sweeping up outside his house. He began to hear a noise which started off smaller than Piglet himself, but quickly grew larger and larger. Suddenly the noise turned into Tigger, who bounced Piglet right off his feet. "Oh, Tigger, you scared me," said Piglet. "I did? But I gave you one of my littlest bounces. I'm saving my biggest one for old Long-Ears," Tigger said. He pulled up his ears as far as they would go, trying to look like Rabbit. "Well, I'm glad I got one of your little bounces. Thank you, Tigger," said Piglet. He waved goodbye as Tigger bounced off down the road in the direction of Rabbit's house. There he is at Piglet's house and getting ready to bounce off to Rabbit's. He's having fun visiting all his friends. "There, that should do it," said Rabbit as he gathered up an armload of carrots from his garden. But then he heard a sound he knew all too well. Boing, boing, boing. "Oh no," cried Rabbit. "Stop." But Tigger didn't stop. He bounced Rabbit right off his feet, sending the carrots flying every which way. "Hello, Rabbit, it's me, Tigger," said Tigger. "That's T-I-double-G-R. Oh, please, please don't spell it," moaned Rabbit, sitting up and pushing Tigger away. "Oh, Tigger, won't you ever stop bouncing?" It doesn't look as if Rabbit is enjoying the bouncing at all. I think that's just how Tigger likes to say hello. "Oh, but why would I? Bouncing is what Tiggers do best." "Hoo, hoo, hoo, hoo," exclaimed Tigger, and he started to sing. "The wonderful thing about Tiggers is Tiggers are wonderful things. Their tops are made out of rubber, their bottoms are made out of springs. They're bouncy, trouncy, flouncy, pouncy, fun, 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 fun. But the most wonderful thing about Tiggers is I'm the only one." As Tiggers bounced away, Rabbit stomped angrily around his garden, gathering up his scattered carrots. "Something must be done about that Tigger," he said to himself. He was not very happy with Tigger. There's Tigger just bouncing and singing, and there's Rabbit not very happy with the bouncing. That afternoon, Rabbit invited Pooh and Piglet to a meeting at his house. "I say Tigger is getting too bouncy these days," Rabbit began. "Now, I've got a splendid idea. We'll take Tigger on an expedition to some place he's never been, and then we'll lose him." "Lose him?" Pooh repeated. Losing someone didn't sound like a very friendly thing to do, said Pooh. "Oh, we'll find him again the next morning," said Rabbit, "but by then he'll be a humble Tigger, a small and sad Tigger, and, 'Oh, Rabbit, I'm so glad to see you,' Tigger. It will take those bounces right out of him." He rubbed his hands together eagerly. There's Rabbit sharing that plan with Pooh and Piglet. He wants to calm down the bouncing. The next morning crept into the 100-acre wood in a cold and misty sort of way. As Rabbit, Piglet, Pooh, and Tigger set off on their expedition, the mist was so thick that they could hardly see their feet at the ends of their legs. Tigger bounced in circles around the others. He bounced ahead and came back again. Finally, he bounced off into some especially thick mist beside the trail, where he seemed to disappear. "Quick," said Rabbit eagerly, "now's our chance to lose him." And here they are, seeing him jump into the mist right there. He ran into a hollow log and pulled Pooh and Piglet in behind him. Then he peeked out from inside the log and breathed a sigh of relief. Tigger was nowhere in sight. "My splendid idea worked perfectly," Rabbit said with a chuckle. "Now we can all go home." Pooh was very glad to hear that they were going home. "Yum, yum, time for lunch," he said. And here's Pooh rubbing his tummy. Time for lunch. "Hello," called a voice from not very far away. "Oh no, it's you-know-who," cried Rabbit. Before Pooh quite knew what was happening, Rabbit had grabbed him and pulled him back inside the log. A second later, Tigger bounced onto the very log where Piglet, Rabbit, and Pooh were hiding. "Hello," he shouted to the right. "Hello," he shouted to the left. Then he leaned down and shouted, "Hello," right into the log. Rabbit, Piglet, and Pooh shook all over as Tigger's shout echoed inside, but they didn't say a word. Tigger hopped off the log and bounced away into the 100-acre wood, still calling, "Hello!" Rabbit jumped out of the log. "Hooray!" he cried. "We've done it! We've lost Tigger! We can go home now!" And there they are, hiding in the log while Tigger's yelling, "Hello!" So they started off toward home. "It's funny how everything looks the same in the mist," said Rabbit a few minutes later. "Take this sand pit, for instance. I'm sure we've seen it before." "I'm sure you're right," said Pooh agreeably. They kept walking, and in a little while they came upon the very same sand pit. You can see here on the path, they're walking around the same sand pit, aren't they? In the mist. Rabbit, how would it be if as soon as we're out of sight of this old pit, we try to find it again, suggested Pooh. Because you see, we keep looking for home, but keep finding this pit. So perhaps if we look for the pit, we might find home, said Pooh. Oh, I don't see much sense in that, said Rabbit. If I walked away from the pit and walked back to it, of course I would find it again. Wait right here and I'll prove it to you. With great determination, Rabbit set off in the mist. Pooh and Piglet sat down in the sand pit to wait for him to return. They waited and waited and waited. Piglet fell fast asleep, leaning against Pooh's tummy. Suddenly he was awakened by a grumbling noise. "What was that?" asked Piglet, jumping up. "Why, I believe that was my tummy rumbling," said Pooh. "I'm awfully hungry. I think we should go home and have lunch," said Pooh. "Do you know the way, Pooh?" asked Piglet. "Well, I have 12 pots of honey in my cupboard that my tummy very much wants to find, so we can simply follow my tummy home," Pooh explained. There they are. Piglet tried to be as quiet as possible so that Pooh's tummy could concentrate. Then, just as Piglet began to know where he was, boing, 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 it was Tigger. He bounced into Pooh and Piglet, rolling them over and over. "Hello there, you two," he said. "Where have you been?" "Oh, we've been trying to find our way back home," said Pooh. "But we seem to have lost Rabbit somewhere in the mist," added Piglet. "Leave it to me," said Tigger. "I'll bounce him out of there in no time." Look at that, there is Tigger. He found Pooh and Piglet on the way home, didn't he? But now where is Rabbit? At that very moment, Rabbit was just about as lost as Rabbit could be. He was so scared that he was trembling from the tops of his ears all the way down to the tips of his toes. Little noises that he wouldn't even have noticed on a sunny day with his friends suddenly sounded loud and frightening. Soon Rabbit was so scared that he couldn't stand it anymore. He ran away as fast as his legs would carry him, and he wasn't even looking where he was going. Look how scared he looks. Oh my goodness. He wasn't even looking where he was going when he ran straight into, boing, "Tigger!" cried Rabbit. "You're supposed to be lost." Rabbit couldn't remember ever being so happy to see Tigger before. "Lost? Tiggers never get lost," said Tigger. "Come on, Rabbit, let's go home. Hang on." Tigger placed his tail in Rabbit's hand, then bounced off toward home. Rabbit held on tight as he was carried along through the mist and the mud. He was now a thoroughly humiliated rabbit, a lost and found rabbit, a "why do these things happen to" rabbit. But more than anything, he was finally a happy to be going home rabbit. And that is the end of Winnie the Pooh and Tigger too. Well, I think Rabbit learned a lesson, didn't he? And I think now he won't mind Tigger's bouncing quite so much. Friends, I hope you enjoyed Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2, one of my very favorite stories. And I will be back with you tomorrow for another story. Have a wonderful day today, friends. Bye for now.